Okay, well, we should be live. Our AI overlords say we're live, so I'm going to believe them. Trust in your AI overlords. They will never lead you astray. Yeah. Well, this would normally be a BX Dungeons and Dragons night. We have had some scheduling conflicts and some players busy with certain things. Somebody's got some knocking going on in the background. That would be Jameis's construction crew. They're building like 2 extra stories in the jacuzzi end, I understand. Yeah, something like that. Jameis is going up in the world. So tonight we're gonna just do a one shot of a game that I did some kickstarting for, and it came out recently, and it's short. It's very simple, but seems to be very fun. It's called Darkness of the Demimonde, a Victorian pulp horror role-playing game by Raven God Games. You can see the front cover on the Roll20 screen there. We're going to go through character creation, and then we're going to play one of the adventures in the back of the book. Fairly short, and I think we can get through it. But before we go through character generation, let's just have our cast of players for the night. Jameis, say hello, Jameis.
Hello, Jameis. I've been here for at least 30 months.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Bill?
Hey, everybody. I'm Bill. I've been here for a while, and you can blame Adam for that.
Adam, who we haven't seen too frequently lately, one of the original BX crew, is able to join us tonight. He did something that's unforgivable. He reproduced, you see. And yeah, it's a horrible thing that takes up all of your time, but you end up loving it at the end. I understand. Help us understand, Adam.
I'm waiting. I'm following Bill's footsteps. He's ahead of me in this, so he's my mentor.
Yeah, well, I try. I've got diagrams if you guys have questions later.
Charts, lots of charts.
Yes.
I hope it's very empowering and makes you feel better. Speaking of Spawn, Constantine.
All right, had to make sure I wasn't muted this time. Hi, I'm here again. I'm not going to play Jenkins again.
Maybe you're not. I mean, we could make Jenkins in this. All right, everybody. You have player sheets there. If you go to the attribute tab, we're going to start there. So instead of the usual attributes that you see, like strength, dexterity, con, and all that we get in a lot of these OSR games, there are archetypes. There are 7 of them, as a matter of fact. Acrobat, aristocrat, hunter, occultist, priest, ruffian, and scientist. You have 10 points to distribute amongst each of those. You may have a 0. You may not have more than a 3. Each of those archetypes basically covers a set of skills. Like acrobat would be you're moving quickly, feats of dexterity, tumbling, dodging, etc. Aristocrat covers your talking, your charming, your bluffing, oratory, etc. Hunter makes you very good at ranged attacks, stealth, nature lore, survival. Occultist, the deep knowledge of the supernatural lore, alchemy, enchantments, and grimoires. Priest, knowledgeable in religious lore, healing, mythology, and leadership. Ruffian, good at melee attacks, feats of strength and endurance. And scientist, knowledgeable in a wide breadth of scientific lore and educational fields, perception and insight. And so each archetype covers those subsets of skills. So 10 points, spread them out how you want. You may have a 0, and you may not have more than 3.
Now you say a 0?
You can have zeros in whatever you want.
Zeros. Okay.
But you can't have more than 3 in any one of those.
Okay.
Okay. Once you guys have got that, and you may continue to think about it as this next step, you have a path, and there are 2. You can be enlightened, which is a normal human being, but who's learned about the terrible truths that supernatural creatures stalk the night Or you can be one of those creatures that stalk the night and afflicted. Vampires, werewolves, mages, that sort of thing. Anything that is not a human falls under afflicted. So let's start with Jameis. Are you choosing to be enlightened or afflicted?
Go with enlightened.
Enlightened. Okay. So with enlightened, you have an occupation. You can just pick something you like, but some of the things that are given are like an academic, an alienist, an athlete, clergy, a detective, a criminal, explorer, the gentry, a pugilist, a soldier, a spiritualist. You can really pick anything. It's just a descriptor.
Yeah, I'll go with gentry.
Okay. And so that descriptor allows you once per session, when making a die roll associated with your area of expertise by your occupation, you may choose to change a single action roll into a 12. In other words, you may make the best success possible on a die roll once per session. You also get to choose 2 knacks. Knack is basically an extra thing that you can do. There aren't many of them. I'm just going to go down the list. Animal handler.
We can't edit our sheets for putting an occupation or next.
Oh, that's just on the first page. It's just you just type it into the text field.
There's no text field. No, there's no text field.
Okay, give me a sec. So if you hit edit under bio and info and hit edit at the top, you should have access to everything. Do you not?
All right, there it is. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yep. Right. Cool.
So an animal handler, somebody good with horses and driving coaches, etc. A brawler, good at melee attacks. Deadeye, someone very good with ranged weapons. And then chanter, someone occultists in particular can make all kinds of magical things. A footpad, someone who's good at hiding and sneaking. Hardy gives you extra hit points. A healer allows you to heal for extra points. Learned gives you a +1 to occultist, scientist, and priest rolls. So not to your stat, but to the rolls regarding those. A medium, you can see invisible spirits. Nimble, acrobat rolls are at a +1. Precise, you can roll an additional D6 by spending some of your experience points and add it to any roll you want. A savant, somebody with a minor psychic sense. A shapeshifter, you can turn into an animal. Yes, even as a normal human being, apparently, you can turn into an animal. Swordplay, thief, giving you some extra bonuses for thiefly skills. Vicious is a neat one. Gives you extra damage when you get 2 6s on a roll. And then you can just be wealthy, which is a superpower of its own.
Yep.
That's Batman's power.
How many next do we get? 2.
2. So if you're going with a gentry, wealthy is a good one, as is are you kind of a playboy, or are you scholarly?
I sort of wanted to go scholarly, but playboy, but I might end up more scholarly than I want to be. Okay. But yeah, the intention is more playboy side.
Okay. More playboy side. You can go with. I'll
go swordsman.
Swordsman. Okay.
Yeah.
So it gives you a +1 to melee attack rolls when you use a sword or otherwise. It doesn't have to be a sword, just a weapon of your choosing. Okay, so those are your 2 knacks. So we will go on to Bill. Are you human? Or are you afflicted?
I'm going to be enlightened.
Enlightened. Okay. Again, choose an occupation.
And what were the occupations again? I'm sorry.
It's just a list of things. You can choose one of your own. It doesn't have to be on the list, but academic, alienist, athlete, a clergy member, criminal, a detective, a doctor, an explorer, a member of the gentry, a pugilist, a soldier, a spiritualist, a tumbler, or an urchin.
I want to be a pugilist.
A pugilist, a boxer.
Yes.
Okay. So again, you may once per session, if boxing or being a pugilist comes up, you can turn your roll into a very good success. So 2 knacks. So as a pugilist, I would suggest the one that makes you a better melee person, brawler. +1 when making unarmed melee attacks. Would be a good one.
Okay, so Brawler and what else?
And Vicious would be the next one I would suggest. It gives you an extra 2 points of damage whenever you roll double sixes.
Okay, I like that. Brawler and Vicious.
Okay. Adam, Afflicted or Enlightened?
Afflicted.
Afflicted. Okay. So, as an Afflicted, you may be created, literally the Frankenstein's monster. You're a golem of some sort. You can be a Deep One hybrid. Somebody got it on with some fish in your ancestry. You can be a demon or a demon that is possessing someone. You can be fey-blooded. You can be a run-of-the-mill magician or a psychic. You could also be a vampire or a werewolf. Or a revenant. Basically, undead. That's the nice rotting corpse.
I'm gonna go werewolf.
You're gonna go werewolf.
Full wolf.
You suffer from the dreaded curse of lycanthropy and can shift into a monstrous half-beast as an action. When you do, increase your ruffian rolls by +2 and decrease all your other archetype rolls by a -1. You must choose a weakness. Silver weapons inflict +2 damage to you, or your curse is uncontrollable during the full moon, or normal canines despise you and will bark, snap, and even attack you. So choose one of those three as your weakness. So important to note, to start off with, you are in full control of your change, unless you choose to have your curse is uncontrollable during the full moon.
Oh gosh, so many good options. I think I'm gonna go with silver.
Okay, so silver weapons inflict an additional +2 damage on you. And now you get to choose an affliction. Yes, being a werewolf is your affliction, I believe, is how that works. Give me a second. Yes, that is your affliction. Okay. Constantine, enlightened or afflicted?
Can I ask a question about the magician one?
Sure.
Can I flavor it as being a witch?
Yes, absolutely.
That's all I wanted. That's it. That's all.
All right. You are afflicted. Your affliction is that of a magician or witch. You practice the arts of sorcery by making a successful occultist roll. So note that your occultist archetype should be a goodly number here. You can cast a magical spell associated with pain, necromancy, divination, the elements, healing, light or darkness, protection, weather, or the summoning of supernatural or infernal assistance. That covers pretty much everything. When you fail a roll, however, you reduce your occultist points by 1. When you reach 0, you're basically out of spell juju until you can rest, which is 6 hours of sleep.
That's fair enough.
Okay. Now, let's see. You don't have to choose a weakness. That is your weakness. You basically lose points in your archetype whenever you fail a roll. So that is the weakness for the magician.
It is how it is.
Yep. And as far as how you cast spells in this game, it just depends on how hard I deem the spell to be. So you tell me what you want to try and do, and I will tell you the difficulty of the spell. So there's not any learning spell list, just whatever you can come up with. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So we are going to start this game assuming that you all know each other, know about each other's foibles, Adam's hair problem, Constantine's issue with eating small children and rendering their fat down into potions. Nasty habit, by the way, Constantine. But there are a lot of urchins in Victorian London, so maybe not as bad as we think.
Oh no, I don't. I mostly don't eat children. I just eat something else that no one else would like to eat. You don't want to know what I eat.
Cauliflower?
Vegemite. It's Vegemite. It's always Vegemite.
No, it's old people. Hey, they're tasty. No one's gonna miss them. They think they died of old age.
Okay, good enough. Let's just use your names for this session. Unless you want to come up with one, that's fine, but you don't need to for this. So in this game, the dice rolling we're going to do is 2d6. So if you turn on your macros in Roll20, you should see a 2d6 button at the bottom of the screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I ask you to make a roll, you're going to click that button. It's going to ask for a modifier. The modifier is going to be one of your archetypes, whatever is best suiting the situation, and any other modifier that might be associated with it.
No macro.
You have to go to the cog display and turn on.
I switched it on. It's nothing real.
Okay, let me make sure I have select to players, all players. Now you should have.
You have to switch it on, but yeah.
Yep. Okay. So a 2, a 1 and a 1, snake eyes, is failure, no matter what. Even if the difficulty is that low, it fails. Double 6s, hugely successful. Always a good thing to roll. Even if you don't make the difficulty, if you roll double 6s, you make the difficulty. So that is the critical success and critical fail in this game. Good? Good.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get to my scenarios here. Okay, we're going to open the scene. A little soiree, a little public engagement by one Lady Bentley. She is a new aristocracy in the area. She is giving a little gala event, kind of her coming forth into the area. She has a new home you've all been invited to. We'll say that you folks have been in the news as of late, solving certain problems that have come up. So the general public is aware that there are things out there that may not be altogether human that like to eat them and cause them all kinds of problems. Adam might be one of those. You lot, however, are trying to quell this rising tide of darkness. So you have been invited because of your public stature. Being in the news will do that for you, even if you are not gentry like Jameis is. And so in this party, one of the highlights of the evening, as if the 12-course meals and the bottles of endless champagne weren't enough, is going to be an unveiling. Lady Bentley has procured a mummy straight from Egypt, whose tomb has never been opened. She's hoping for something very entertaining for the night.
So she has the entire tomb. Hopefully has a mummy in it, and as we know that she can't tell if there's a mummy.
It may not. It may be a dud. Maybe nothing in it. She doesn't know. She has acquired the tomb that supposedly contains a mummy. But part of the fun, part of the thrill is finding out what's actually in this sarcophagus. And so we're coming towards the highlight of the evening. Everyone has feasted well, perhaps a little giddy on the champagne that's been tossed about. Other social climbers have been invited, as well as a few politicians here and there. Again, you guys have been in the news lately, so these kind of events getting a little boring, maybe, but free eats, getting to hobnob with society, and Jameis being part of the gentry yourself, always good to be seen. It's good to be seen. So let's get an idea of what folks look like. So Jameis?
Oh, we're going, of course, the full dinner jacket, top coat and everything, full sort of formal regalia.
Going full fop.
Full fop, yeah. It does look a little bit like it has quite been properly pressed lately, like my manservant, who I obviously hasn't quite been doing a good job, but he does have a sword cane with him.
Sword cane. Okay, yeah, so that is going to be your weapon of choice. You've got a nice sword cane. All right, Bill, how does your character present themselves? Unmute, perhaps, unless you're playing a mute, in which case, no judging.
Could be. No, his name is Biff Dempsey. He's Jack's uncle,
Hmm.
and so he's square jawed, very he's got some money, but I believe he's what they call new money.
Oh, okay.
He's made a lot of money boxing. Um, he's not too terribly smart, but he's really good at fighting, and he has like kind of a weird interest in the occult.
Okay. So I've got a dude with a top hat that very much looks like Jameis. We've got a guy in a derby here, which maybe Bill or Biff Dempsey. That'll work for you.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Adam, how do you present yourself?
So enormous sideburns, naturally, with a big mane of hair, big, huge gap tooth. I'm actually just describing to you Mungo Jerry, if you want to just look him up, in the summertime. So big frizzy hair, huge chops, gap tooth, lots of gaudy jewelry, rings on every finger, just a leather vest, no shirt.
Okay, question. Are you more comfortable in your wolf skin than human skin? Because there's nothing that says you can't just stay in your werewolf form most times. And if you're actually wearing clothing over that and you have been helping fight crime and save people, the people aren't going to really bat an eye at this anymore.
Absolutely. Just full wolf. I just go back to human form to toilet because it's easier.
Okay.
Doesn't get matted in the fur.
Are you happy for my sword to be silver tipped? As in you're quite happy for you knowingly. So Adam, I sort of I knowingly have this weapon, and I have this weapon in case things go wrong with you.
It seems like you have a wolf in your background too.
Yeah, making too much noise. So if you're happy with that, Adam, then yeah, I'm happy with that.
You're fine.
Could also be a horrible surprise for later. All right. Well, I kind of like the idea that Adam, your character, goes around a full wolf most of the time, but of course a dapper wolf wearing the proper clothing.
See Beauty and the Beast.
All right, sounds good. Constantine.
Hello. We're describing our characters?
Yes.
All right. So I am playing how do I put it? She's not a full-on generic witch, but imagine what you would think a Victorian witch would look like. That's basically her in a lot of ways. The only thing about her is most of the time she tries to be normal. But the times when she isn't normal, everyone thinks she's fucking insane.
Okay.
Not in the I'm going to kill you in your sleep way, but in the I'm going to talk with a statue for 6 hours straight. Crazy.
That works. Okay. All right. So
very odd person.
You were also somewhat of a highlight of the evening as well, especially Adam. You're going by Gapgrin. Okay, so Gapgrin and Ms. Ratty are very spectacular folks in their appearance and how they come across in society here. So there's a lot of talking back and forth. And again, the champagne is flowing quite well. So first of all, anyone who is drinking the champagne and eating the food, I'd like you to make me a 2d6 roll. And you can add, what would be a good one here? Probably ruffian to this roll. If you're not partaking of the food or beverage, you don't need to roll.
I am not, but thank you for the offer, my good sirs.
So 2d6 plus whatever our ruffian skill is?
Yes. Yes.
You said the 2d6 was macroed somewhere.
Yeah, you have to turn your macros on. So when the roll 20, go to like the hamburger menu, the 3 lines.
Okay.
And-
Okay.
yeah,
I
you
got
got to turn
now.
that on in there.
Bill, please turn your macro noise off. Turn your beeping dice off.
Turn the beeps off.
Well, I might have to do that too. Let me see.
It's under text chat options.
Got it.
And just uncheck the enable background chat sounds.
Got it. All right. I should not offend now. All right. 2d6 plus our
Ruffian. And remember, yours is +2. Whatever your ruffian level is +2 in this form.
Excellent. All right.
Okay. Well, you're having no problems. The steak tartare in particular was very good. Very good today. The champagne, not so bad either. Biff, same. You're fine. The food is a bit rich for your taste, or you're just trying to acquire these tastes, maybe. The rotten fish eggs on a cracker, you're just never going to bring yourself to liking. You're sure of this. No. Champagne's not bad, though. A little weak. You just got to drink more of it.
No.
Jameis, okay. With an 8, you are feeling really good. You're on that verge where you feel wittier, more charming, and able to do anything you want, true or otherwise.
I always feel.
And Constantine or Miss Ratty is not engaging in anything, so you're fine. You're absolutely fine. So we come to the part of the evening where the sarcophagus is wheeled out. It's made of a poured stone. It's painted in rich pigments, faded over time. And while there are some chisel marks here and there around it that mar the stone, you can see that the seal is still intact, as evidenced by the lead that had been moltenly poured around the joinery. Still intact. Still intact. Gapgrin. Your host wants you to officiate. She hands you a mallet and a crowbar and asks you to do the honors of breaching the sarcophagus.
Right, stand back. And with a mighty flourish, he goes a hammering.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sure you're not going to fail this, but roll me a 2d6. Add your ruffian to this.
Oh,
double ones.
You spoke too soon.
Yeah. So you put the crowbar right on the bit of lead, and you hit it as hard as you can with the hammer, not judging how slick the surface of the lead actually is. And as that crowbar goes skidding. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to roll randomly here. 2. Bill, or Biff Dempsey, the crowbar goes skittering across this soft lead, slick lead, out of Gapgrin's hands, hurtling right towards you. Can you please, and I'm going to use... we'll use your roll there for this. So, Bill, if you can roll me 2d6 and add your acrobatic to that if you want to get out of the way of the crowbar.
Mind yourself, Biff.
11. You do fine. So in this game, the GM never rolls dice. You're basically rolling against a difficulty number, and the difference in you succeeding by X amount or failing by X amount determines whether you take damage or not. In this case, you well surpassed the 7 that Gapgrin rolled there. So you dodge out of the way as the pry bar lodges itself in the wooden beams supporting the chandeliered ceiling of this meeting room. And since they're quivering, everyone's silent for a moment. Everybody kind of looking at Gapgrin.
Just
say, dear boy,
just testing reflexes. Let me try that again. Biff,
Go
mind
over.
yourself.
Okay. This time we will not have you roll again. That was nice comedic effect, though. You hammer, holding the thing in place this time, expecting it to be a little smooth, a little slippery. So you make a little dent to give it some place to stay in, and then you whack it as hard as you can. The lead breaks and cracks, crumbles off, so that the top and bottom of the sarcophagus is now exposed. If you will do me the honors of removing the lid, please. Looking over at Biff, as well as Gapgrin. Biff, she kind of points you at the foot of the sarcophagus.
Markings on the tomb to say who this is?
That's the interesting thing. While it's brightly painted, and many very lavish purples and blues and gold colors, there's no cartouches anywhere on the tomb. Suspiciously so, as a lot of the chisel marks that I mentioned earlier that didn't break the tomb looks like perhaps they were used to chisel off the cartouches that were on it.
Oh.
Isn't tight.
So I'll
right.
grab the. I guess I will move the lid off. I'll just try to muscle it off of there.
Okay.
Let me help.
As you guys do this, your host is bending over, excitedly waiting to see what her money has bought. You slide that heavy stone lid off. Inside, there is a mummy, expertly wrapped. The smell of must is in the air as funerary herbs and oils kind of break into the room, wafting off of this. It doesn't smell bad. It smells very earthy. Very earthy, very strong. She's delighted as she goes over and she's holding her hands very close to herself, like, oh, look, it is a mummy. Oh, so expertly wrapped as she goes down to caress the wrappings. And she's almost giddy as she turns around to display the mummy to the crowd. And as she does this, the mummy's hand grabs hers, pulls her down.
I say, old boy, not all quick.
Nothing of value lost.
Okay, so before we just say she's dead, let's figure out how initiative works in this. I believe it's everybody rolls 2d6. It's just a straight 2d6.
What skill goes with melee with sword? What skill is that?
Ruffian.
Ruffian, okay. So
Feel free to move things around if you want. But everybody roll 2d6. This has no extra involved in it. Initiative is just a flat 2d6. And we go.
I'm going later.
Okay, we go highest to lowest. So it looks like, did you get an 11, Adam? Was that you, or did you?
I did. So did Constantine there.
Okay, so Gapgrin and Miss Ratty, how do you react to this? So right now, her hand has been grasped, and the mummy is pulling her towards its head, which is starting to rise up. That is the scene as you see it.
I will bite the hand that holds her.
Okay. Gapgrin goes in to bite the hand. Miss Ratty, what about you?
Oh, sorry. To be frank, she was very distracted, totally not playing with a rat. Nope. No, that was not happening in the corner.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you're just going to stand by and watch what's happening?
Yes, I'm going to observe.
Maybe in morbid fascination, wondering what will happen here. Okay, so melee in this is not a tit for tat. You roll your melee, which is the 2d20 plus your ruffian. And if you've got any other adds to that, that's fine. And you're trying to beat a number. In this case, the mummy is very strong. He has a 16.
So you said 2d20 that time? Did you mean to say 2d20?
2d6, actually. And I'm sorry, 12. It has a DS of 12. So you got to roll very high here.
Okay, and so I would roll, and you would say I would add my ruffian?
You add your ruffian to this, yes.
All right, and I think I made an error earlier. I gave myself +2 for being in wolf form, and then my ruffian is a 2, so it should be a +4.
Okay.
I do
8.
not make it.
Okay, so here's the thing. So the way this works is, so you missed it by 4. That would normally mean that you take 4 points of damage because you're in melee. But in this case, she takes 4 points of damage as you don't quite get to that hand in time. As she's pulled closer to the mummy's mouth, the maw opens, showing this razor-lined teeth that just goes right for the jugular. Blood is just spurting everywhere as her throat is torn out.
Pretty.
So she will take the 4 points of damage instead of you.
So 4 is that's a lethal amount for normal
actually,
people?
we didn't do your hit points.
No, we
I
didn't.
should probably do that. So your hit points start at 10, and you add your ruffian to that. And so it means in wolf form, you do actually have 2 extra hit points at them.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now let me look up something here real quick too. Okay, so damage. Yes. So she's not dead, but her throat, it's gnawing on her throat. It's making every attempt to make her dead as the blood just begins to flow all over the place. Because of this situation, let's go ahead and do what's essentially a horror check here. You've got this mummy that just kind of rose up. It's eating on your person who invited you to this thing. So let's figure out how this works. This is a stress roll. So guys are going to roll 2d6. If you had any points that would be given to level yourselves up, you would add that to it, but you don't have any of those yet. So everybody just roll a 2d6. This is fairly minor for you guys, so it doesn't need a very large roll. And let me just go down. Jameis, you got a 2?
So did I.
Okay. This means that if you fail, and I was looking for a 5. If you fail, you all have 1 stress. That means that every action you take is -1. It's minus the number of stress points you take. You get unstressed by just taking a break, taking a breather, and the stress goes away. Okay, but in the moment, this causes you a great deal of stress. Probably Gap Grin, because you're pretty sure your host is dying, and it's all your fault. It's all your fault.
I'm a bad boy.
So those were the 11s. So who's next in? The 10. I got a 10. Somebody else got a 10 too. So why don't you go, Biff?
Okay. You said she's still alive, right?
Barely, but yes, she's still alive.
I'm gonna punch the mummy in the face and try to pull the chick away.
Spoken like a true boxer.
Yeah.
When you try to do multiple actions, you get your first action, no penalty. Your second action, however, is at a -2.
That's fine.
Pulling her away will be a little bit more difficult than punching the mummy.
Okay.
So it's 2d6 plus your ruffian, and if you got any other bonuses to melee.
Not really.
What did we give you for Nax again? We gave you the vicious, which gives you extra damage.
And I'm a brawler.
And a brawler, which +1 when making unarmed melee attacks.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So your ruffian, your +1 for your brawler on 2d6. Go ahead and roll that. You're looking for 12.
No. Not very good at all.
A 7. So the mummy finishes killing your host. Again, you would normally take the damage, but it was her the mummy was attacking.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to Jameis. She's dead. She's dead. Her neck has been gnawed through enough that it's just hanging on by a little bit of tissue, like the bone has been crunched through.
Yeah. Bad form, sir.
There's a lot. Yes, there's a lot of gasping in the back and a lot of my word.
Strike at the mummy.
Okay. So you're using your special weapon.
Yep.
So yeah, 2d6 plus ruffian. Your weapon gives you an extra as well.
Or +1. But I got 1 stress, so it negates, and so I just up +2. This time it attacks me because we've run out of other ladies.
Yes. Okay, so when you take damage, so you would take 4 points. That's the difference between. Yep. So here's what happens to characters.
You're right, Boo. We're gonna die.
Probably.
Okay, give me just a second here. Okay, yes. So you take that to your hit points directly, and hit points come back after just a rest. So you can definitely take 4 points because you start with a minimum of 10.
Yeah. If I die, but don't bother trying to save me with genie tricks. I die. That's it.
So it backhands you as you take the blow to the face. As we'll say, your sword is it's a sword cane, and it's not that you missed the creature. It went clean through its wrappings and didn't seem to hit anything vital. And with that same hand, it kind of forces the arm down your blade and kind of clubs you in the face. Okay, so it's starting to rise from the coffin and discarding the corpse. And let's just start back at the top. So it would be, I think Jenkins got the highest, or is it Constantine, you got the highest? No, wait, you were tied. It was you and Gapgrin.
Yep. And I have
So do you wish to act now, or do you want Gapgrin to act first?
Gapgrin can act first, and then I'm going to try something.
Okay. Go ahead, Gapgrin. It
All
isn't
right.
completely out of the coffin yet, but it's getting there.
All right, Gapgrin's gonna go for its throat. Yarr!
Okay. Exactly a 12.
Unfortunately, you're stressed.
Oh, that's
11.
right. It's an 11. Okay. So you strike at the mummy, and it's a flurry of blows as it kind of blocks with its overly agile arms. It's moving a little faster now that the blood of your host is soaked into its bandages. It seems to be becoming a little bit more animate, and it just is able to slide by and get a fist right into your snout for a point of damage.
Yay!
Miss Ratty,
Hi!
what did you want to try?
Well, something a little softer at first, since this... Well, as much as I don't care for the rat killers, I do care for my friends, so... I'm gonna try and do some magic to, I guess, restrain the mummy. Try and keep it down, if that's possible.
Yeah, sure. You tried to make a restraining force to the mummy. All right. So the way this works is you need to. So I'm going to say this is a moderate spell, a 10. So 2d6 plus your occult.
So what was that plus? I'm sorry.
Your occult.
Okay.
And let me tell you, and tell me what you got.
All right. I have no. I'm just gonna roll. Yeah.
Yep. It's 2d6 plus your occult, however many points you have in that.
Oh. Sorry, my bad.
Occultist, I should say.
Cultist.
Yeah, it's on your attributes, where you spent some of those 10 points, hopefully, on occultist.
Oh, my bad. My apologies. Either way, yeah, for the cults that should be at least a +1. So
a 1, okay, 10. Okay, that's what you needed for the spell to be successful. All right, so the mummy is restrained at this point. It's still struggling against the bonds, but the spell goes off. It is capable of holding the mummy down. You see that it's not able to move forward. So we're going to go. So this would be a 10. Biff can go first before the mummy since the mummy is being slowed down. And you're muted, Bill.
I knew that. What's it doing now?
Right now, it looks like it can't move forward, and you just saw Miss Ratty cast a spell upon it.
Well, I shall run forward and try to put my fist through its face.
Sure.
All right, so that's
2d6 plus ruffian plus your extra 1 for being a brawler.
okay. So that's 4.
And it only has so 9. Okay, so you're still going to miss it by 1 point. Miss Ratty caused it to its DS number to drop by 2 points. You needed a 10 instead of a 12, but you still missed it by 1.
Damn it, Jim.
Okay, it can't hurt you because it's restrained, so you don't take damage from that. But I am going to say that what happens is some of the stone tomb, some of the stone of the sarcophagus shatters and breaks, and you can see where the sarcophagus broke. Its hand is a bit more free there, and it also understands this. It can't move forward, so it tries to move backwards as it attacks the sarcophagus, trying to force itself out the side instead of out the top. So it starts to batter at the sarcophagus, breaking stone. It's got its leg out. It's got an arm out. Jameis?
Yeah, I'm not going to try to attack it, but I just want to try and see into the sarcophagus with a little if there's any kind of something else in there, if there's any kind of incantation or something to help control it. Or looking for something to give information about the mummy.
Gapgrin is howling in the background. Yes, it seems like the mummy, with it now trying to bust out the side of the sarcophagus, it was laying on something. It's a scrap of papyrus, a scrap of a scroll of some sort.
Yoink.
Gonna try and grab it. Okay, let's do that as we can do it as acrobatic, or let's see what else will be kind of fast hands. Probably acrobat.
Yeah, just go with it.
Yeah, go with that.
Yeah, how?
A 5?
5.
Okay. You can't quite get it. I'm going to say your hand is on it, but it kind of rolls over on your hand, trapping you. But you do have your hand on it. You just haven't been able to pull it out just yet.
Yeah, next round I'll do that.
No damage to you. You've got your hand on it. All right, back to the top again. Gapgrin. You see that Miss Ratty's spell is keeping it from coming out of the top, but it seems to have found a weakness in the spell and is working its way out of the side.
Gapgrin's gonna try to brace his legs on the side of the sarcophagus and try to rip off the arm that's protruding from the sarcophagus.
Okay, so you only need a 10 this time.
Hey, an 11 with my penalty.
11 with your penalty. Okay, it means you've dropped it down to a 9, so you've done some damage to it. You've got the arm, and you've yanked off what you thought would be the arm, but it's actually just a whole bunch of bandage. It smells of just rot and damp that came off in your hand. Beneath it, you can see like there's bone and still some like dry tissue stuck to it. Like if that was a real arm under there, you would have definitely pulled that arm off. But instead, you've got this kind of bony thing under there. You just didn't get a good grip on. All right, so you did make it a bit weaker by doing that. Miss Ratty, you can see that it has found a way to overcome your spell. You want to do something different?
How is it leaving? Is it using its arms?
Yes, its arms and its legs. It's just kind of battering the edges of the stone to try and just either break out the bottom or break out the side.
He's covered in paper, right?
It's covered in cloth, yes. Dry cloth. It seems to be heavily scented with something that's very musty and earthy.
Fire.
Okay, you're going to create fire.
I'm going to create fire upon that silky clothed skin of theirs.
Okay, it's 2d6 plus your occultist.
Yep.
Fire is easy to make. Fire only requires. Let me get to my grimoire section. Oh, you only need an 8 to create fire. So let me know what you get.
Is it if I make it over, I still succeed? Kind of thing,
equal to or over.
Okay, just needed to ask. Ah!
An 8, you make it.
Yep.
And yes, the blaze picks up quickly on the bandage as it moves up the arm, over the torso. The stench grows stronger as the bandages act like a wick. The mummy is now on fire. You rolled exactly an 8. So it's now on fire. It's still moving, but it's on fire. Biff?
Okay, I see that it's on fire, so I'm going to grab a chair because I assume there are chairs around.
There are chairs everywhere.
I'm going to grab the chair, whirl around, and smash the chair on the mummy.
Okay, so the chair will give you extra damage. Go ahead and roll. So you're going to roll with a +1. Oh, actually, you know what? It's going to balance out because you get a +1 when you're not using a weapon, and picking up the chair is only going to give you a +1. So it's going to be 2d6 plus your ruffian +1.
Okay. All right.
10. More than enough. You do successfully batter off that arm that Gapgrin was trying to tear off last round. It goes flying, still ablaze through the air, getting dangerously near some very voluminous curtains.
Well, of course.
So its turn. It's gonna finish destroying the coffin, and it rolls onto the carpet, leaving behind patches of fire on the carpet that start to burn as it stands. It is unshaky on its feet. Most of the bandages at this point have burned off, showing like the desiccated flesh and skeleton beneath it. It's moving slow and ungainly. It doesn't seem to have a lot of control over itself. Jameis, you remove the scrap of paper.
Yep.
All right. Taking a look at it, why don't you give me a 2d6 plus?
It's going to negate against my stress unless it's specific, so there's no point.
It's going to be your aristocrat.
Oh, in that case, it's 8.
8. Okay.
8 in total.
Yeah, 8 total. So you do recognize some of the cartouches that are on this. It's basically give me just a second here. Let me find this work. Okay, it is a bit of an Egyptian prayer that lays a soul to rest, allows the soul to move on to the next kingdom. Essentially, it's a spell.
Yeah, I was going to try and cast it, but just odd that it didn't work or something. Why is the spell conveniently with the mummy?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that'll be next round. I'll try and cast it.
Okay, so start of the round again. It is losing bits of itself. It's hobbling on one leg as one of the legs have just burnt through, and it's causing a fire in this little drawing room as well. The curtains are starting to catch fire. The carpet's definitely on fire in spots. A lot of the guests are pushing themselves to the edge of the room as far as possible, but a lot of them are just taking champagne and watching what's going on. You even have a few golf claps like, oh, bravo, bravo. Good shot, Biff. Good. Give him the old uppercut. Okay, Gapgrin and Miss Ratty, what do you guys want to do? It's on its last legs, literally one leg, teetering with only one arm as well. Still on fire.
Gapgrin is snatching a serving platter, scattering champagne glasses everywhere, and he's using the platter itself to just beat the thing down to the ground.
Sure, and of course it's a silver platter.
Silver plat. Oh,
So we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen if you fail the roll.
I've already rolled 2 sets of 2 tonight, so let's see. Let's go for the third.
And this will give you an extra +1 using a weapon as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that negates my -1 from being stressed.
Okay. So it's down to a 5. So you beat it apart, putting out some of the flames. You separate the head from the shoulders as it goes rolling off in one corner, lighting the carpet ablaze as it rolls. The torso falls as it stops moving. There's silence around the room. The curtains blaze. The carpets blaze. Somebody goes over to the carpet with one of the champagne bottles and just dumps it out to put out the flame on the carpet. There's a round of applause. Oh, good show! Good show!
Our host is dead.
Oh, she's quite dead.
Oh. What do we do?
As you're saying this, somebody near the window, actually one of the maids, says, "Pardon me." She's looking out the window. I believe there's a greater sense of urgency and more going on in the city. Mr. Gapgrin, Mr. Dempsey.
Let's go look at the window.
You go to look at the window, and there are mummies, alligators, other animals that should be dead, all going through the streets, all seemingly going in the same direction. As incidental night, people taking the air at night to get in their way. They're trampled, torn apart, eaten, but they're not going out of their way to chase anyone down. It just happens to be if they're in the way, all moving in one direction.
What's the direction?
I tell you what, everybody can make me this roll. Make me a 2d6 plus. Oh, and since the threat is extinguished, you can remove a stress. So that will all be gone. Let's see. This will probably be either occultist or priest, because priest is the attribute that has mythology, religion, history. Occultist would work too.
I'm rolling terribly. I really am. Well, I suppose I'm rolling really average.
Yeah.
Which is not great.
An 8's actually fine. Has everybody else rolled?
Oh, do you need me to roll? Okay, I can roll.
Yeah, 2d6 plus either occultist or priest.
Oh,
Adam got a 7. Jameis got an 8. Constantine with the big 10. Biff 7. All right, so Jameis and Miss Ratty, both of you realize that they're heading, and given the fact that you see mummies in the street, maybe it is a sign of that, it jogs your memory that Cleopatra's Needle is in that direction on prominent display. Cleopatra's Needle being a gift to England.
The other one went to Washington, if I recall.
Nerd. Sorry.
They don't seem to be breaking into homes or chasing anyone down that's running, but they're all going in a line. The direction of where Cleopatra's Needle is.
Congo, 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 Congo.
They're Macarena-ing their way down the street. The occasional severed body torn between them.
I hate when that happens.
What do you guys want to do? Some of the other folks looking out start lighting cigars, saying, "Well, we seem to be safe in here. There's no reason to expose ourselves to such dangers." And they look around like, "But we have a group of heroes amongst us."
So, Miss Ratty, what do you make of this? I show her the parchment. It seems to be some sort of spell.
Oh, a bell, you say? Well, I guess I can't really say hi to my birdies this afternoon, so I'll have to do this instead.
I think mummies are bad, okay?
No shit. Yeah,
Biff those undead gators that are in the street. Now that'd be some fun wrestling.
gators are fun to, feed to my birdies sometimes. But I can't really ignore mummies. I can ignore gators. I can't ignore mummies. Gators can't jump. Mummies can climb ladders.
As a gator jumps, eating somebody that tried to climb up a tree.
They normally can't jump. They, however, can gallop. If you didn't know that.
Yeah, so everybody is expectantly waiting to see what the heroes of the moment are going to do.
So, Galen.
I guess we should go after them.
Yeah, it's either this or I make the fire of London look like a campfire.
Oh, Adam, also, if you took any damage, you rapidly heal as a werewolf since it wasn't done by Silver, so you're back to full.
Got it. All right, so Gapkin will finish scratching behind his ear, chewing on his shoulder, and then he'll make for the door out.
All right, you open the door. Give me 2d6 plus your brawling. This is basically a melee attack.
You said brawling?
Or sorry, you ruffian.
Okay. I am consistently rolling low here.
Okay,
Sure.
one of these gators was actually just passing right through the lawn as you open the door. You're not quite quick enough to defend yourself as it barrels into you, snapping at your legs, taking 2 points of damage.
Ouch!
Okay, what do you want to do? It just continues on its way after taking a good chunk out of one of your calves. It just keeps going.
I say, old chaps, it looks like we should hie ourselves over to what direction of Cleopatra's Needle seems to be where all the action is.
Is there a carriage we can commandeer?
There are many carriages lined up in the
There'll be
lady's carriage house.
Let's commandeer one.
As you're opening the door, Gapgran, you hear in the background, 5 pounds say that at least 3 of them die. And then they see the gator attack you. 10 pounds say 4 of them die.
Just looks at the party. If the rich die, I'm not stopping. I'm not gonna save them. Okay.
So no automatic carriages, unfortunately. Only horse-drawn carriages.
All right.
Well, you're not rich. You're a playboy.
I will go galloping out and leap onto a carriage and see if I can't bring it around to the pick up the others.
You belt yourself into the horse harness and you pull a carriage out front.
Oh no, I was meaning like I'm gonna jump on top of it and lash the
Oh,
horses.
okay.
into
Well,
action.
the horses are not yet attached because they've been unbridled and they're being fed and brushed down. But as you come out there, some of the boys will quickly start harnessing some horses onto a carriage for you. You pick the silver thing, so the horses don't mind your scent. Yeah, it's all good. So they rapidly start to harness a team of horses up to a carriage for you all. The little boy looks expectantly at you, hands out for a little tip.
No pockets in the fur. Sorry. I point to my my gentry comrade here.
Actually, I can almost see you just sort of pull off some fur and give it into his hands. Yeah, have this. Werewolf fur, very, very precious.
Well, hold this secret forever and ever, sir. It will keep me warm on the nights when I don't have coal to burn.
I'm gonna tap the child and be like, if you ever need a place this actually I'll give him a coin.
She's
I'll
got a
give him
very
coin.
warm oven for you.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna eat. I don't eat children. How many times do I have to tell you guys? I don't eat children.
You don't have to eat them. You just, cook them for me. And
No.
The child will take your coin after first testing to make sure it's real. Darting off and handing you the buggy whip for the horses.
Don't follow random women or old men. It's not a good idea. I'm like one of the few nice witches out there. Don't trust any others, please. It's not a good idea for your mental health or physical health.
The child
Solid.
has ran to the hayloft to keep out of the way of the alligators and undead in the street. You have a team of horses and a carriage. Miss Ratty, you seem to have a horse whip in your hand.
all right on
driving a carriage, by the way, would likely be either. Oh, let's see. Acrobat or aristocrat? Either one, I would think. Who wants to drive the horse and buggy?
I'll drive.
You'll drive? All right, Biff.
I see Miss Randy just talking to the horses and then they gallop off following her instruction.
You take the buggy whip, you hop up, everyone else jumps on the back of the carriage. Go ahead and give me a 2d6 roll. Add either aristocrat or acrobat.
Not bad.
Hunter would actually work as well if you have a better hunter. Oh, 11 is great, though. You masterfully get the team of horses to go in the direction that you want, which I'd assume is not amongst all the undead, maybe parallel to them.
Well, where do I go? I'll ask my companions.
Well, they're all heading in a straight line.
I'll follow where they point.
Okay. Well, you definitely move faster than the conga line of undead as you get the horses moving down to the park where Cleopatra's Needle you see in the distance. It's a very tall edifice, and it is haloed in a nimbus of purple light display, almost like fireworks going off at the top of the needle. And there is a figure floating at the pinnacle of the needle, and it seems to be drawing in this purplish power. It looks like the needle is magnifying some kind of energy that this figure is drawing off of. And you can tell, looking around at all these undead and these gators that are coming through the streets, that their heads are all bent, looking up at this figure, as in supplication as they get nearer the needle.
What's the needle made out of?
Stone.
I'm gonna look at Galen. Oh wait, Galen's not here. I'm gonna look at the werewolf man. Should I? Okay, if they're all magnified by that fucking needle, and if it's just made of stone, why don't we just break it?
Breaking things is always a good solution.
It's a good solution to a problem like this, because they're putting all of their power in a very feeble object.
Yes, let's break.
Yes, I think it's a decent idea. I mean, I'm going to try the spell first on it or something.
Hey, we could just ram the needle.
With your horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Dash the horses against the stone of the needle.
Is it too big for that to really do much?
It's pretty big.
Okay. Well, it was just a thought.
It's not the worst idea.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Is there
the worst idea ever.
Is there anything near the needle? Are there any big trees or anything like that?
As you get close to it, there is a small forest around it that don't rise to the same height as the needle itself. But around the base of the needle, you can see there are 4 mummies kind of bent in supplication. That as your carriage comes rattling through, they stand and you see the same kind of purplish energy that's at the top of the obelisk is mirrored in their eyes as they kind of look at you coming, and they peel off from the needle to come in your direction.
I'm going to run over them.
Yeah, sounds good. You need to control the horses so they don't panic, because they definitely don't like these mummies. So give me a 2d6. And your choice of hunter, aristocrat, or acrobat. Your choice. Any of those will work.
All right. I'll use acrobat. Yeah.
You got an 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't boxing, so I can't. Take
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Punch the horse.
Trying to run it over. Okay, so an 8 isn't quite enough to be able to catch them. They're faster than they look. So your carriage is now right at the base of the needle. You just blew past these 4 mummies that were coming out to get you as you were trying to run them over, but you failed to do so. So you guys are at the base of the needle now. Behind you, coming on you quickly, are these 4 mummies. These are the closest to you, but very soon there's an army of undead and crocodiles heading right towards the needle that will be here soon and up above you. This floating figure, it's a man who's wearing some robes. Looks like he's in his mid-20s, looks very young, but he's holding a bunch of Egyptian artifacts. He's got like a scepter in one hand and an ankh in another, and he's wearing robes. It looked like it came out of a museum. The man himself looks nothing special.
I say there, who are you, sir? Let's do this.
Is he too far away for me to punch him?
Yeah,
He's at the top of the needle.
Okay.
Who are you, sir, that we may address you properly?
Can I climb up the needle?
You start climbing up the needle. I'm trying to find out how tall the needle actually is. Give me a second here.
Don't you have the magic words? Say the magic words on the paper.
I probably need a name first, so that's why I'm trying to get him to say who he is. 68.5 feet.
Wow.
21 meters.
Okay. Yeah, that's tall. That's a lot of climbing. It's a lot of climbing, dude.
Dude.
You would better punching it down.
All right. Yeah, so give me 2d6 plus this is just how far you go, and to also see if humorously you rolled 2 1s.
It was what? Add anything to it, or just?
Yeah. You're gonna add. It's a feat of strength. So ruffian. Add ruffian to it.
All right.
The higher you roll, the more feet you're going to eat up. Okay, so you start. You find a good grip. There's lots of carvings on the side of this needle that you're able to get your fingers in. So you just start climbing it. You start free climbing this, going up. We'll say you rolled a 10, so we'll say 10 feet. You get 10 feet up.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go try to chew on one of the 4 mummies coming after us.
All right, roar! Turn around and you go after one of them. Go ahead. 2d6 plus ruffian. 11. Okay, you charge into the one. You needed a 10, so you did a point of damage to it. So it means that you will only need a 9 the next time. So if you want, since you bowled into the lot of them, if you want to take a second action at a -2, you could try and attack another one with a -2.
Let's test our luck. Oh no, it was a mistake.
Okay, yes, as a double Shatner-esque double-handed blow to the back of your head, doing 3 points of damage to you. Who wants next?
Well, I'm calling up to him. Does he respond?
Calling up to him. I tell you what. Go ahead and make me an aristocrat roll. Calling him out.
Because
plus
I
aristocrat.
don't think it will apply to if I try to do an co roll. I'm going to use my gentry skill of an automatic 12 for this.
Nice. Because you needed an 11.
Yeah, and I'm not good at rolling at the moment.
Okay. So give me just a second here.
Give us your monologue.
Yeah.
this will be the name you want to put into the spell to do this, the spirit going away thing.
Okay. So yes, he'll call down with your challenge. He tells you that he is Jedi, the necromancer inhabiting the body of this poor Bernard Martins,
Oh,
an
so
unworthy host for my greatness.
That's the name of the spell of the soul we want to put to rest.
Yes, his name is Jedi. Djedi.
No, it's Jedi, Jedi.
We wouldn't want to be called out by the House of the Mouse. That's a DJED.
There's a DJ Jedi in the house.
You might fight undead, but you're no match for the House of the Mouse.
Yeah.
No one is. They will sue you for everything.
So Biff is climbing. Gapgrin is combating. Jameis is calling him out. How about yourself, Miss Ratty?
So you know that banish spell thing you gave me, Jameson?
Yes, the spell to lay a soul to rest.
You know, I think I see a soul that needs to be put down, like a child. I mean soldier. I mean old person. I mean cat. I mean dog. But whatever. Close enough.
She drools a little bit as she goes through the list of her favorite foods.
No, it's old people. Oh, and rotten corpses.
That's at the bottom of the list.
No, that's at the top. I eat whatever rats eat. I'm called Miss Ratty for a goddamn reason.
Ah, I see. So you want to try and read the spell?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. What do I
Okay.
use for
2d6 plus your occultist.
Okay.
It's not. Ooh, I was going to say it's not easy, but with a 14.
Oh, I was going to say, this will also be your automatic 12 from your roll as well. So yeah, anyway, you've got it. You're there. You're done. You're excellent. On top of it.
So 14. What this does is basically whenever you make an attack like this, it reduces their defensive rating or the dice that you have to overcome to fix the problem. So 14, and because Jameis called him out, lost a point last round. So the difference between 9 and 14, 5 points. So definitely the fireworks are subdued a little bit. And so Jedi's voice changes a little bit. And you hear the body that he's inhabiting. Bernard calls out, "I'm still in here! Someone, please!" So the necromancer is much weaker now, but still up there, still in control of things. So one round later, the horde is that much closer. Adam, let's see how you're doing the thick of things as Gapgrin has gone after 4 of these mummies, weaker mummies.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I can't fight them all off on my own. So instead of trying to destroy one, I'm just trying to knock them into each other, bowl them over, anything I can do to just eat up their time, keep them from attacking my comrades.
Okay. In which case, instead of why don't you add acrobat to this? And the difficulty will be lower since you're not trying to directly attack them. I kind of see you going between legs and kind of like leaping and parkouring off some of the buildings around you. But with a 6,
I think we should go back and just look at every single roll I've done tonight. I think it's anomalously. I should go to Vegas right after this because there's got to be a tipping point here, huh?
So it looks good at first. Gapgrin caroms off a wall to avoid one, leaps off of one's back, but then when he goes in for this tight roll to go between the legs of one of these mummies, it just sits on you. Take 4 more points of damage. But you're certainly keeping them on you. So that's a thing. Let's see how Biff is doing. Same roll you did last time, whatever you chose as your additional tribute. You got 10 feet up last time. All right. 21 feet up. Haven't fallen yet. The light works have dissipated somewhat. You're still free climbing this huge obelisk to get to this guy, and you can hear the duality as Bernard is asking for help while the necromancer is like, "No, you weakling! I'll wear you like a glove."
That's what I said to your mother last night.
I say, Bernard, come on, you're a stiff upper lip man. You're English. Do it for country. Do it for your dear, sweet mother. I'm trying to sort of bolster him to help his defense against his mental defense.
All right, so Jameis, you wanna do something?
Yeah, I'm trying to bolster Bernard. Bernard, you're an Englishman. You don't put in for the sort of thing. Think of your dear, sweet mother. How would she feel about you?
Essentially a social attack again. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
It's much diminished now. Be an easier roll to make.
Do you have a chance? Come on, double one. No, 11.
11. Well, that's still, so that reduces him some more. Light works dim even more. And now you can see that shambling crowd, some of them are just stopping in place and have stopped moving. But the general flow is still kind of going towards the needle. But, good half of the crowd is just kind of milling around.
If I can quickly call something, Biff, get ready to catch him. I can see what's coming.
All right, so Biff is climbing. Jameis is trying to engage him socially to set him off balance. So, Miss Ratty, do something else? So the spell to lay his soul to rest it worked, sort of, but not quite enough.
I mean, he's starting to wake up now, so if I just keep doing it, he's just going to lose more and more control.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it again.
Sure.
Not as good. That's fair enough. Can't roll high.
He's still much reduced. So he's down to essentially 1 point. The light is now flickering up there at the top of the needle. The undead at this point have come to a complete halt, kind of milling around, unsure of what they're doing. But the 4 that are on Gapgrin are still in the fight. So let's go back to Gapgrin.
All right. Fearing for my mortal coil here, I'm not going to do anything other than just again try to distract them, knock them down if I can.
Sure.
Acrobat?
Yes, with a much lower difficulty since you're not directly attacking them.
Don't worry, double one's coming up.
Oh no, that's good. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to say you definitely. So a lot of them are trying to grab you. They're bumping into each other. Some of them fall over as they're not slow. They're unsteady on their feet. One of them gets you grab with your mouth one of the wraps. You start unwinding one of them as you start spinning in place. So you're definitely keeping them busy here. You've technically done damage to the lot, so they'll be easier to do things with next round. And as you get a good look at this army of creatures and undead that was coming towards the needle, and they're just kind of stopped now. They're looking around. Some of them, unfortunately, are starting to disperse into the neighborhood. You can hear people panicked as they start hunting. Okay, Biff. Oh, he's frozen. No, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, try and climb.
I'm continuing to climb, yes.
All right. Just to make this more interesting, instead of the 60-some feet, I'm going to say that that gets to the cap of it. So you've reached him. So you're hanging on to the top of the pyramid, the obelisk. Now he's floating just a little bit above you, and it's an interesting vantage point as you see Bernard trying to exert control as he's punching himself, and his other hand is grabbing the fist, keeping himself from punching himself.
I don't understand this. Can I punch him in the balls?
At a -2, because this will be a separate action, but you certainly can.
But maybe I can use my 1 roll per game to make it a double sixes.
Let me just check something on that. I'm not sure if that was just you could choose two names. You were special. No, this is your expertise. So well-timed boxing punch. So describe what happens to the poor man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna push myself up because I assume I have to reach a little bit.
Just a little, yeah.
I'm gonna try to balance, and I'm going to just, with all the force of my pugilistic skills, I'm going to just rear back and hit him as hard as I can, and it'll send like a spike of pain up his spine.
So right as you're doing it, the necromancer says, "Fool! I keep my nards in a clay jar." And Bernard says, "I don't." Right. So the light display goes off. It winks off. And are you letting him just fall?
Yes.
I was going to try and catch him. I know, yes, I realized this, but
Okay, so you're trying to catch him from a 60-foot fall ish. So you go on. Okay, so make me an acrobatic check. Here's what's going to happen. So I've got a number in mind.
Possible. It's not impossible. That's all I'll say. It's not likely, but it's not impossible. That's not it.
Okay, so here's how I was going to do it. If you rolled insanely high, it would have been in picture perfect, and no bad things will happen at all. Okay, but how I was going to do it is I'm picking a high number. That number is I was going to say a 12.
Okay, I'll take 4 points.
So you take 4 and he takes 4 because equal and opposite and all. So you both take 4. Okay, you keep him from dying, from busting his head open on the cement. It is a bad landing, but you've saved him. And the mummies that Gapgrin that you've been fighting just kind of stop moving and fall over.
I lift my hind leg and do what needs to be done.
Yes, you must mark your territory. Looking out into the street, mummies. Boy, a lot of these aristocracy households had a lot of mummies in them, apparently. And they're just littering the street now, having no motive power at all. The alligators, however, are another matter, as they are dispersing into the rivers of London and into the forests, as you hear nighttime walkers screaming in terror as these are being hunted down.
Good evening.
Okay, well,
is there good resale value in these mummies? Let's throw a couple in the carriage. Well done catching him. Good catch. Will you play catch with me now?
As Gapgrin's wounds heal in moments. Okay. You have a carriage. Your horses seem to be more settled. There's a lot of mummies just littering the parkway. As Gapgrin starts just shoveling them onto the back of the carriage.
Yeah, they'll never figure out whose mummies was whose. So we just, we can resell them.
They did so many interesting things with the mummies in that time. You know that they ate the bandages, they ground it up, and they put it into food.
Oh, well, would you think the mummy brown? I think it was color.
Yes, and that's where the color comes from too. And so many things they did to mummies in the Victorian.
How did we make it as a race?
To be fair, those are English people, or English vermin. Sorry.
All right. Well, that was one of the modules in the back of the book.
Hell yeah.
So I'm realizing the one thing that I did miss in character creation was you pick 3 items, and they're just basic items. But one of the items you pick can be a special item that allows you to have a +1 towards an action roll during the mission. So that is one thing I missed in character creation there. Yeah.
I like the simplicity of the system.
Yeah, there's no there's basically a number, defense number, whatever you want to call it, that you're trying to beat. And instead of you doing damage to the creature, you're reducing that number until that number is 0 and you've defeated the problem, or so low that it offers no real resistance to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how that works. Teaming up, like if someone were to help someone do something, so like if the number is very high, then you're just not going to reach it with 2d6, even if you roll 2 6s, you always succeed. But when you team up, it adds a +2 to whatever the main action is. As far as I can tell, multiple people can help on the same roll to get that number up there, which is kind of cool. Hit points, you take direct damage to some of your traits once you run out of hit points. So like your ability to be a good talker, etc., can go down. All hit points come back after just getting some rest. Stress, once you get a little bit of rest or get some quiet time, you roll, I think it's a d6, and that's how much stress you regain. So it's possible to carry some stress over from encounter to counter, but not likely. Failing a stress roll, you only take 1 stress, or 2 if you roll boxcars on the test. So you'll never take more than 2 stress at one time, and you get a d6 roll to get it back after a little bit of.
Yeah, we roll boxcars on our stress check.
Yeah,
on the horror check.
It's a fairly short book. It's only 40 pages long. It's out on drive-through now. I like it. It's simple. If you wanted to do like a quickie kind of even Call of Cthulhu type of scenario using these rolls, I think it would work just fine. Magic system, trying to do some really hard spells or spells that would, like altering weather, for instance, has a difficulty number of 12.
One thing is to get that needle to sort of reach up as a stone fist and grab the guy or something.
Things like that can be done. Yeah, so altering the components of something can be done. So the downside is that if you fail to do something, if you fail to cast a spell, it reduces your occultist class down. And if you're at 0, you can't cast anymore. You need some time to freshen up. So that's the downside of that. But yeah, I like it. It's got so it's not like fully fleshed out adventures, but it's got like 4 bones of an adventure in the back. Not bad at all.
It's a starter book. You can't expect it to have everything.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
So that's Raven God Games. Pretty cool little game. Check it out.
And you can run that exact module again in Wellington Paranormal.
I could. With more slapstick things happening, I'm sure. Yeah.
More slapstick.
Well, there's that. But a little early, but we'll go ahead and call it there for a night. James, why don't you tell us about your blog?
Yeah, I have a blog there. I have been to a film festival we've had, so I've got film festival films there. And I'll have other films as in turn that come up. But yeah, we've just had a film festival. Yay! So, films all around.
Bill, anything that you got going on?
Yeah, well, the next thing I'm running for Frog God is I'm going to run Cults of the Sundered Kingdoms. It's basically just it's sort of like an adventure path, but run with old school. So it's, a series of shorter adventures. Take a while to run, but, it won't require the big commitment that something like Baracus took. So, yeah.
Mecha Dungeon.
Fun. That should start in the next month or so.
Adam, it was great to have you again. You have anything you want to plug? Anything you're doing online?
No, just looking forward to the Supernova Ska Festival in Fort Monroe, Virginia in September. International Ska Festival, musicians from all over the world. Happy to go there.
And raising the next generation of human beings.
Gamers. Yeah, one of them at least.
Someone has to do it. I'm glad it's you. And again, talking about Spawn, Constantine, you got anything going on?
As I've said before and will say again, I will not mention it as long as my father is here.
It's that Only Feet page that brings in the mad dollars.
Because
So what we're saying, log off now and then.
I'm pretty strict and closed-minded about stuff. So, he's got.
I know.
Sir, it is not because I'm scared of you. It is simply embarrassment.
Oh, I'm sure Bill would. Yeah, he would mercilessly. Yeah, Oh, you're right.
You're right. I would. Yes.
You would. I know you well enough to know that you very much would for months.
Yeah. Well, if you found us, you know where we are. Check out Blue Magic, BLUMAGIK.com, where we've got now 15 years worth of podcasting goodness on there, as well as all of our social links, YouTube, Twitch page, our Discord channel. So check out all those things. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.